getting the camera set up the way I want it to is not always the easiest thing. I have to start it, and unfortunately I don't have, it can't just push it. There's a button I've got to push in that moves the camera wherever I'm setting it at if I'm not holding it in the hand or have somebody else doing it. So at any rate, that's why you saw a little bit of what you saw at the beginning of that. So here we are again out in the woods. I'm not too far from the road, it's just down the hill from here, and I'm kind of it's the same place where I'm usually at, but it's a different place, it's a different area of the place, or a different place in the area, however you wish to put it. But here I am out here, and this is the 2nd of January 2024. Got to say that 2024 to make sure I can remember what year it is and don't get the wrong year, so we can start writing it down correctly. So here it is, 2024. This is my first video that I'm doing in 2024, and hopefully I'm hoping to do more of these this year. Either some similar things that I've done, maybe just some more hiking videos, who knows, whatever different things I do, and hopefully get more people to watch them this year. So whenever you're watching this, whenever that may be, it may be a long time after January of 2024, but that's when I'm filming this, January 2nd, 2024, and it's just 1 month from my birthday, actually. So my birthday is February 2nd, so things come by real quickly. Be here before I know it. Well, as the title of this video says, I'm going to continue more discussion from on some of the, I don't know how to call this. Basically, it's just sort of, you could call it my own statement of faith, own creed, whatever word we want to use for it, confession. That sort of thing is when it comes to matters of theology that I hold to, and the name, just what I like to put on here, because you know I do a lot of these things on here. If you've watched it any length of time, it's not everything I do, but it's a large part. So, if you watch all of them that have this in it, then you'll get a pretty good idea about me in that. And anybody that agrees or disagrees with me can voice their disagreements in the comments. That's perfectly fine, obviously. That's why it's there. But at any rate, the particular one on this one is about the doctrine of the fall of man. And so I talked about last time about the creation of man. Spent a lot of time on creation. Talked about the creation of the world, the creation of the universe, and so forth, and some of the different things, theories on that, and then got into the creation of man, that man was created special above all the rest of creation because he was created in the image of God, and that made man more special than all these things we can see here. You kind of look in the background here, you can see the trees, and on the background the leafless trees. In 2 or 3 months, there'll be leaves all over this. Right now I'm stepping on them. You probably can hear it under me. But in a few months, there'll be leaves all over it. And occasionally you'll see birds and animals around here, and they were all made as well, and they all, in some sense, reflect the image of God. I want to be careful how I say that. They don't bear the image of God, but they reflect the Creator. But they don't really tell us a whole lot about Him. More than just the fact there is a creator and that there's design and so forth. But man bears God's image. The rest of creation does not. And that puts man, it's more important than the rest of creation. But it also, I think I mentioned this last time as well, gives a man more responsibility than the rest of creation. The rest of creation is not burdened, shall we say, with the responsibility of bearing the image of God. It's both, and you might say the image of God is both somewhat static and dynamic. It's there. We have that as far as who we are as the image bearers of God, but it's also a dynamic thing, and it's something we are to do. It's sort of an adjective that describes us, but it's also a verb. We're to image God. We're to show God. We're to be His reflection. Just as I'm looking right now at this camera, I can see my reflection in the camera. Because I've got it here, I can actually see the video just to make sure it's coming out kind of the way I want it to. But I can see my reflection there, and it means this camera is doing its job well. It's actually showing my image in the in the screen here. And that's the way we are to be with God. We are to show His image as well, and we have that responsibility. But man, unfortunately, failed in that task. Now, I want to point out when I say man here, I'm referring to both male and female, as the Bible says that God created man in His image, male and female created He them. I'm going to say man. I may sometimes say humans or humanity or something, but if I say man, understand I'm not just referring to male, I'm referring to both male and female. But at any rate, God created man in His image, and man fell. We read this story in the Bible most clearly in the 3rd chapter of Genesis. When sin entered into the world, God had created, and it's sort of appropriate here, we're surrounded by trees. He had put a tree in the middle of the garden. It's called the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Well, He put a tree in the middle of the garden that we call the Garden of Eden, or that the Bible calls that in the opening chapters of Genesis. That beautiful garden and that was given to them is maybe somewhat like an orchard because of all the fruit trees. I'm here in the forest, but those were fruit trees. These are not really fruit trees. They're just the more, we'll say, the forest trees that we see here. But at any rate, there was that tree, and they were told, or the original couple, that they could eat of any tree in the garden except for the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God tells them, the day you eat of that tree, you are sure to die. And a serpent comes along and tempts the woman. We're learned from the same passage, Adam is there with her, but she's the one tempted and says to her, did God tell you not to eat of any of these trees? And he said, no, I'm going to say Eve. She's actually not named Eve until after the fall itself, but I will call her that nevertheless. But she says, well, we can eat of any tree in the garden except for the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. We can't eat it or touch it, or we will die. And the serpent then just directly contradicts what God said. He said, no, you're not going to die. He says, God knows that if you eat of this tree, eat of the fruit of this tree, he says, you'll be just like He is. You'll know good and evil. And that's what He's scared of, is you becoming like Him, so He's trying to withhold the good stuff. He's giving you this sort of okay stuff here. He's giving you the leftovers, but He's holding out on the good stuff. He doesn't want you to have it. And Eve hears that, and she believes it. She sees the fruit of the tree, that it's good for food, it's pleasant to the eye, it's desired to make one wise. And thinking all that, she takes it and eats it and gives it to Adam with her. And then we're told the eyes of them both were opened. They knew they were naked. They run and hide themselves. And we can read the rest of the story. We'll talk much more about that in a moment. But what you have here is the first case of man disobeying his Creator, or his and her Creator. They were given one simple task. Ironically enough, you can look at this, what happened in the garden. They were given the task of taking care of the garden. Like I say, we might better call it an orchard, our way of thinking of it, but there probably were plants as well as trees there. But nevertheless, that was the one task. They were to be the caretakers of this garden, orchard, whatever it was, and that's all they had to do. And they were given they were gods, if you will. If we talk about somebody being somebody's right-hand man in a company or something like that, that's kind of what their position was. They had the highest position in all of created order. But that wasn't good enough for them. They were tempted because you can actually rise and usurp the boss. You can take over his place. And they believed it. And they tried to do it, but obviously it was not successful. because they tried to be something they couldn't be. They tried to be something more than what they were created to be. They weren't satisfied with having the greatest job that any creature could have had. They wanted something more. And in many ways, that's the essence of sin in general, is that humans are wanting something more. We're still wanting to be God. We still want that highest seat. We're not satisfied with being, the right-hand man. We want the highest seat. That's a thing of pride, selfishness, greed, and so forth. A lot of people have lost a lot of money on these schemes that you can find online, and you kind of feel sorry for them because they've gotten taken. But you can't feel too sorry for them because they got taken because, they were foolish enough to get taken, but also because they were greedy. It's not like they were trying to help anybody out. They were trying to make a quick dollar. Trying to make money very easily, and they couldn't do it. When money wouldn't be made, they were being lied to. Just as the first couple, our original forefathers and mother, were lied to, but they bought into the lie because of their own greed, because of their own pride. And in a sense, that's the whole essence of sin, is it's human beings trying to usurp the throne. One great quote years ago said this, that humanity is not, and I'm not stating this just right, said it's not a person who's impaired in need of self-improvement, but humanity is a rebel who needs to lay down his arms. Humanity is trying to overthrow the rightful king of this universe, and what man's in need of is laying down his arms and taking his rightful role under the king. But that was what sin was. Sin was, we're told that it's lawlessness in the Bible. It's rebelling against the law of God. And in this case, man was just given one commandment, but couldn't keep it. And that's the nature. But that's the nature, is we want to rebel because we want to be the authority. And that's the human nature, is that we want to be that. But as I said, what man needs is, man's nature by nature is corrupt and sinful, and I'll talk more about this in the future videos. But what man's in need of is turning away from that rebellion, laying down his arms, and bowing in submission to the one he's in rebellion to. But that's man's problem, and we all, it seems to be one of those things that, regardless of a person's political, religious, philosophical opinions, everybody seems to agree there's something wrong in the world. We seem to know that. It's just we don't want to place the blame in the mirror where it rightly belongs. So that's part of what I want to talk about today, just the doctrine of the fall of man, and what's happened and why man finds himself in the predicament one finds oneself in. Well, I'm going to show you some of where I'm at right here. Grab this off here. Right there. That's where I had the camera sitting, right where my fingers are here. I had it sitting right there. And right down there is where I'm parked at. You can see the car through all the other trees. I've kind of walked up here. So I'm going to film just for a little bit here while I'm walking. I'm probably going to go out on the road out there, right next to where I'm parked at, and go for a walk, because I like to come up here and walk a good bit. Oh. Found this walking stick. Somebody had left it up here. It actually worked good to kind of walk up here with. And I'll leave it down here for anybody else to come and get it. You can see a little stream here. If you, in my other videos where I filmed next to that big creek, this one runs under the road here and then runs down. Runs down the hill kind of, and so there's a hill on the other side there, then runs into that big stream. pine trees here. The evergreens, things that stay while the other trees are either leafless or the leaves are dead. The pines, part of the evergreens, they stay green year round. And we got some ferns. And there's the creek. Oh, just a little stream, a little trickle here. And it comes down through here. We have, I don't know if this is a cedar or a fir, but it's another evergreen kind that more typically would be used for a Christmas tree. And walk over here. There you can see that's where the water ends up going under there to the other side of the road. This right here is where the stick was sitting at. Somebody put it up here against this tree, so I'm going to put it back there for anyone else that comes that might want it. And I'll kind of close this out. Right here on the main road. And it is kind of cold out today. It's not too bad, at least it's not windy. There's the creek. A little bit there is of it there. And it comes down, you can see it there. And then it comes out over here. Some people throwing some limbs or they've fallen in there, one or the other. And eventually it goes down to the creek, all the way down where I've made some of the videos at. Well, at this point I'm going to shut this off. Just I hope everybody enjoyed hearing what I was talking about today about man's fall, and hope you have a blessed day. Hope you will be with me the next time that I'm on here. Like I say, I'm about to go for a walk. So with that, I'll just I'll sign off and say hope everybody has a blessed day. I hope everybody is having a very good 2024. Talk with you later.